Hello, party people. What's up? Good to have you here. How have you been? You doing well? I sure hope so. Today, I wanted to make a video about something we all love to hate and hate to love, and that's running. What a fun activity we've decided to do with our body. I went for a run today and I just remember thinking distinctly, God, I wish I knew the things I knew now as compared to about 4 or 5 years ago when I first started running, because it's a bit of a rabbit hole. It's a difficult area, and I feel like once you get to know what you're doing, it's a whole lot easier to make progress and more importantly, make it enjoyable and fun, because let's be honest, running kind of sucks. And there's a lot of tips and tricks you can do that actually make it a bit more enjoyable. It's just enjoyable, right? First little note, this video is targeted at beginners. We're talking people who haven't started running yet, have just started running, or have constantly tried to start running multiple times and now coming back and like, this is there. You want to be like, I want to nail it. I want to keep doing it consistently. So if you're a pro runner, if you're like an intermediate to pro runner, get out of here. I don't want to see you. You're not welcome here. There's a beginners club. This is for the athletically challenged people of the world like myself. If you are a pro, maybe you can make a video and send it to me, how to be better at running. But this is a beginner's guide to running. So rough format here is I'm going to give you 5 tips, which I've learned along the way, which really helped, and then followed by, an action plan to help us get going when we first start, because it's not as simple as you just go out for a run, although it kind of is, but there's ways I'd go about it, which I think will make it a lot easier for you. So I went for a run today. This is what it looked like before, and this is what I looked like after. So as you can see, it went really well. It was really good. I went super fast. You couldn't even see me. I was running so fast. It was like, wow, so fast. Lo and behold, let's get into it. The number one thing with running, and the whole purpose of this video and why I wanted to make it, there's sort of a misconception, or at least I started with a misconception, and your only goal should be not to run the fastest, not to run lots of marathons, not to do this. Your entire goal of running is like, how can I make running enjoyable? That's your only goal, because the trouble is running is so hard and so difficult that most people will run for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then they'll quit. They'll never do it because it's really hard. So this video is targeted at how can you make running enjoyable enough that you keep doing it? Because that was my issue, right? For many years, off and on again, I'd run for a couple months and then be like, this sucks. And then I remember thinking like, I gotta go for a run today. And I was like dreading it. I was like, I don't want to go for a run. Running sucks. It's so hard. This is really aimed at ways we can make running enjoyable and approachable as a beginner. But at the same time, you're still going to make progress. You're still going to kick goals. Well, not kick goals. You're going to run. You're going to hit finish lines. You're going to hit target. You're going to gloat to your friends. You're going to join a run club and meet your goddamn spouse. It's going to be amazing. Okay, let's get into it. Tip number 1: it's better to run longer and slower than shorter and faster. And what do I mean by this? I mean that when you're starting out, to make progress and make progress quickly and to build up that fitness, you want to run longer runs where you run at a much slower pace than when you run really short and really fast, because this will just burn you up. Now, there's so many reasons behind this. The main thing you want to do is get kilometers in your legs, or miles if you're metrically challenged. There's all these muscles you haven't used in so long that are going to be really painful when you first start running. There's also going to be your aerobic capacity. You're going to build this up much faster just by running longer and slower. But not only all of this, you're also going to find that when you run longer and slower, it's a lot easier. You don't finish the run feeling like you want to die. You don't finish the run and you're not sore for the next 6 days. You don't finish the run and be like, I never want to do that again. Most of the time you finish a long, slow run and be like, yeah, that was actually kind of good. Now, what does a long, slow run look like? We'll get into this a bit more later, but essentially what you want to do is think about when you're doing these longer, slower runs, imagine you can still have a conversation with someone next to you. Now, obviously it's still like an out of breath conversation where you're kind of like, I was at the show the other day and it was fun. But you should still be able to have somewhat of a conversation with the person next to you. So whatever pace is that for you, where you can still kind of have a little bit of a chat with someone, that's the pace you want to be running, longer and slower as opposed to shorter and faster. Tip number 2, trick yourself into making running fun. Maybe fun is the wrong word, making it more enjoyable. Running by itself, as I've stated many times, you're gonna hear me say, running is hard. And if you can associate positive things with running on top of when you do it, you're gonna be much more likely to keep running. I'm gonna give you some examples. These are things that work for me. Let's say there's a type of music that you really like, or vice versa, a podcast you love, or an audiobook that you're quite into. What you wanna do is only listen to this thing when you go for a run. So let's say a new episode of your favorite podcast has come out, be like, I can only listen to that when I go for a run. run. I really want to finish this audiobook, only when you go for a run. I want to listen to this band or whatever, only when you go for a run. Reward yourself by getting a really nice coffee after, or I can only drink a glass of wine on the days that I've gone for a run, or I can only play this video game on the days I've gone for a run. Or another one could be running in beautiful areas. I only go for runs when I drive to this nearby park or lake or beach or in a forest or whatever it is, right? You want to create ways to make running like more fun than just going for a run. Alternatively, two more things is you can go for a run with a friend. Lots of people do this, use it as a social catch-up, or join a run club. That's become super popular, hasn't it? Or another one that I kind of like sometimes is actually running just, purely with your own thoughts, because sometimes, the rest of your week's so busy to have some time to yourself. I found it's quite therapeutic and lovely. Tip number 3, and this is about gear when you start running. There's really only 2 things you need, and that's 1, a way to track your runs. I use an Apple Watch, I like it, but other people use Garmin's, Fitbits, whatever. You don't actually need this. You can actually just use your phone. Your phone will be fine. Download Strava, download Nike Run Club. There'll be so many apps that do it. Just something that can track your progress. And the reason you want to do this is because it's really gratifying and builds a lot of momentum when you look at the runs you've done and see the progress you made. Like you may do the same run, 20 times, and you'll see the 20th time you can look back at your first run and be like, oh my God, I'm so much faster and it feels so much easier. I don't feel like dying. The next thing you need is a good pair of running shoes. This is the only bit of gear I really recommend. Your feet take a bit of a beating when you run. And if you don't have good support, you can get a lot of injuries. And running with good shoes, it helps your ankles, it helps your knees, it helps your hips, it helps everything. So the good news is that most brands now do make a really good running shoe. Whatever brand you like, whether it's Nike or Adidas or Puma, or Reebok, Asics do great shoes. Like whatever you want to do, they'll have a good running shoe for you. A little note, don't get the carbon plate ones. They're not actually very good for your feet. They're just good for going fast on race day. But just try get a good supportive shoe. I currently use the Asics Gel Blast, Nova Blast. What are they called? Asics Nova Blast 5s. I think they're pretty good, but you'll see they're all pretty comparable. You just want them to be stiff with a lot of support. Okay, tip number 4, sign up for an event. Sign up for a run, have a deadline. You're going to be so much more inclined to go for runs when you know there's a reason you're doing it, and if not, you're going to embarrass yourself at something. So for me, it was signing up for a half marathon. That's worked really well for me, because I'm like, oh my God, it's so far. If I don't train, I'm actually going to have a pretty bad day. It might be a 5K park run you've got coming up. It might be a charity fun run that's like 10 or 12 Ks, might be a half marathon. I would advise against signing up for a marathon as your first thing to do, but hey, you do you. I ain't gonna stop you. Good on you if you're a psycho. Also, what I found is that because these things generally cost a bit of money, like I think the half marathon I'm about to run in a couple months costs like $150 to sign up for. It was like, well, damn, you best bet I'm gonna be turning up and doing that race because I just paid $150 for it. So my advice is book an event. You're gonna have it in your calendar, maybe 2 months down the line. I reckon 2 months is generally a good amount of time to train for, 2 to 3 months, depending on how fit you are, maybe a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit longer. The last tip I have is that strength training, like going to the gym and doing, more bone bashing exercises for your legs is really important for running. And I didn't realize this initially, but having like a gym day or a time of the week where you're going to dedicate it to like exercising your legs. By this I mean doing a lot of compound exercises like squats, deadlifts, calf raises, hip thrusts. These sort of exercises are really great because what happens is you really want to strengthen a lot of the muscles around your joints and ligaments and your knees and your ankles, because this is where a lot of the problems come. And what you often find is people who get injured running, it's not often because they've fallen over or something like that. It's actually because the muscles around those areas are not strong enough to sustain the constant impact that's happening. I'm no physio, but I think that makes sense, right? So what you want to do is don't shirk or skip on doing exercises. If you don't skip leg day, right? That's the whole point of what I'm saying here. Don't skip leg day if you don't want to get injured, and it'll make running a lot easier. Okay, so now I wanted to get into the action plan of something I think if I was just starting running, what I would do. Before we get into it, note, an important disclaimer. The first 3 runs you're going to go on are so hard. Like, it is so tough. It is grueling. They suck. Like, the first 3 runs, give or take, are so hard for everyone. All you got to do is get through them. Just try, pick a distance, pick like 3Ks or something like that, and just do it. Just like, get to the end. Even if you got to walk for a bit, even if you got to stop, even if you like whatever. just get through them, because the first 3 runs are exponentially harder than any other run you're going to do. And once you're through them, much smoother sailing. So just before I go into this, if you're at this beginner stage, just go, I'd say 3Ks is a good distance. Go run 3Ks, even if it takes you an hour. Just set the distance, go do it, get it done, do it 3 times, and then you'll be in a better place. Okay, so here's my action plan for running to get you fit. Let's say you've got an event in like 2 months, 2 months-ish, 2-3 months. What I'm gonna suggest you do, and critique me, 2 runs a week. You're gonna aim for 2 runs a week. If you can fit in 3, that's great. If you can only get to 1, that's less good, but at least 1 a week, aiming for 2 a week. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna do 1 of these longer, slower runs, and if you can, 1 shorter, faster one. Now, I'm not saying 2 strictly either way, but roughly this is what you're aiming for. So during the week, what I like to do is do my shorter, faster run. Now, I generally try and aim for roughly 5Ks, and I try to do it pretty quick. And you want to do it to the point where like it's hard. Like you feel like you're pushing yourself. You feel like by the end of it, you're pretty out of energy. Like you want to push the pace here in these runs, and whatever's fast for you. So my guess is if you're starting running like a 5:30, somewhere between a 5 to 6 minute pace is probably going to be quick, and you're going to feel it, and that's good. And you want to do this for the shorter run. Generally, I'd suggest around 5Ks, give or take. And then on the weekend, when you've got a bit more time, you're going to do your second run. And this is where you're going to try run. Let's say your shorter run is like 3 to 5Ks. Then your longer run is going to be like 7 to 10Ks. And you're going to do this one slowly. So you're going to go back to that conversational pace. Now, once again, these things are give or take. You know, you can do your shorter, faster run still a bit slower, but just this is the rough breaks you want to do, because this is how you build up both parts of the fitness. And the good thing about doing this plan is they both kind of work off each other, where you got this thought that you go, the long slow run's so easy, because I actually just did this other run during the week where I ran so fast, and it was like, oh my god, I felt so tired. So when it comes to this long slow run, you're like, I'm actually just going so slow, it's so easy. And vice versa, when you do the shorter faster run, you're thinking, I only have to run like 3Ks, like it's going to be so easy, because actually on the weekend I ran like 10Ks, so a 3K run's easy even if you do it faster. So they kind of bounce off each other and help to make the running seem easier in both ways you do it, if that makes sense. Lastly, if you do want to add in something fun as well, something I really recommend is hill runs. They're really hard, but they make you feel good. Or just find a big hill somewhere near you and just literally run up it and then jog down it, or walk down it and then run up it again and then walk down it, and then just keep doing this until you can't do it anymore, and you'll get so fit. It's crazy. But anyway, main thing is 2 runs a week, 1 longer, slower one, 1 shorter, faster one. That's the rough goal you're going to be going for in this running game. Lastly, I just want to say, and I think it's important to note, be proud of yourself. Like if you're out there running, running's hard, and it doesn't matter if you look like a sweaty mess. It doesn't matter if you're not running as fast as some of the other people. It doesn't matter if your running style's a bit weird. Everyone's got a weird running style. My running style, perfect though. Point is, be proud of yourself. Like you're doing so well. Congratulate yourself, reward yourself. Be like, I'm getting it. Like I'm taking my life seriously. Running, I'm fit. Like hell yeah, good on you. Do it, run. You'll love it. Okay, thanks so much everyone. This is a really quick guide into running, and something that I think is really enjoyable and I think everyone can do. Hope you liked it. Leave your comments. Got any other tips? What helped you get through those first phases of running and building into a habit? Talk it through. Love to hear what you've got to say. Au revoir, party people. Have a good one.